Welcome to a special mini episode of On the Fly, where we're very excited to introduce a friend, a colleague, and I suspect a frequent panel guest of the show, Chris Gugino. Chris, welcome. We usually ask our guests to give us a 20-second bio before we start our casual conversations on coaching youth lacrosse. But for you, we wanted to dive deep into your passion for the game, which is contagious, by the way, and hear about the work you do for Mass Youth Lacrosse, the many towns around the Commonwealth you've either directly coached or worked closely with in their development, your alma mater, Endicott, which you not only played for, but was on the coaching staff, and just in general, your philosophy as it relates to the youth game. So why don't we start with a question which I love asking people. When did your love for lacrosse begin?
Thanks for having me on, guys. This is awesome. And what a great opportunity just to talk about what we all love, which is the game of lacrosse. When it started for me, I started playing when I was 8, which now seems late for a lot of kids. But the love started early on. And just because of what the sport is and how it allowed me to express my athleticism on the field, it was the combination of, being a fast kid, you can get up and down the field, being able to play defense and have that physicality. And wasn't a big goal scorer early on. That was a development thing that I grew into. But really right when I started, I loved the game.
Where did you grow up?
Grew up in Connecticut, so West Hartford, northern Connecticut. So in stark contrast to the foes down in southern Connecticut, Darien, Fairfield, Greenwich, New Canaan, perennial powers. We would beat them only every now and again.
Yeah, sure. Tell us a little bit about, let's start here with your time at Endicott, player, and then you coached there as well.
Yeah. So went to Endicott, graduated 2011. Really unique part about being there was I got to play with my older brother. So the Guginos were at Endicott for a long time playing and coaching. So graduated 2011, just awesome experience being able to play a sport in college. And with the success we had, all the better, right? But it's the experience of being a college athlete just has served me so much. And then I got the opportunity to come back and coach in 2021 and 2022 when I was living down the street. So Eric Haggerty, one of my best friends, we've lived together, played together for years. So what a privilege to go back and coach where you played. It was amazing.
So what do you think are the most obvious differences between coaching college players and coaching kids?
I love coaching college players because you just set the stage. They do the work, and your job is to push them to where they can be. So your job as a coach in college is a lot easier than your job. And Marty's done it too. Your job coaching youth, you are setting the stage, teaching the skill, showing what that skill can look like, coaching the high level, coaching the low level, being able to wrangle the 6-year-olds, being able to take those 10-year-olds and transition them from just executing to executing at a high level. So I love coaching college, and that is an amazing experience, but coaching at the youth level is way more challenging. And that's really the biggest difference. The activeness, how active you need to be as a youth coach pales in comparison to being a college coach.
So you have familiarity with kind of both levels. How has that allowed you to be a better coach for the other group?
Yeah, and my experience actually had me coaching at the youth level before I was in college. So once I graduated from Endicott, was involved with MYL right away in the North Shore and just fell in love with the program, what we do, growing the game, just like an instant alignment. And coaching at the youth level, coaching all these different towns, coaching with some club, but really predominantly being anchored in MYL. How I coached and who I am really lent to coaching at that youth level, but it made me a better college coach because I had to meet these kids where they were at. And how do you connect with kids at that youth level? Certainly it applies to coaching at a college level because emotions are still there. Being able to connect individually is still there. And certainly if you're not connecting with your 1 and 2 age group team, they're going to let you know. And at the college level, those interpersonal relationships are what allow your team and the individuals to grow so much. So I'd say that's probably one of the things that served me the most is the relationships with the players.
Amazing. So tell us about your work with Mass Youth Lacrosse. You mentioned how you coached there, and we'll talk about that because, Marty, I used to coach against Chris, and they were some of my favorite games. Tell us about what you're doing now at the coaching education level and clinics and all the other stuff.
So I've loved as MYL has grown, I've gotten the opportunity to grow with the program as well. as we've brought on the girls programs, and just as we've taken education to a new level. So over the last decade now, almost, we've been getting out to towns, we've been educating and getting the opportunity to teach the game, teaching how to play the game, how to coach the game, the skills required to really teach the game of lacrosse from a 6-year-old to a 13-year-old aspiring high school player. So I've had the opportunity to be a part of our coach education staff, and early on it looked like getting out there and just talking about the game and giving some small tidbits to where we are now, which is really well developed content and bringing newness every single time that we come back and educate our coaches. Marty and I were laughing about some of the content we were doing in 2020 and COVID, and putting together some amazing stuff to still educate our coaches, and where it is now to being able to have presentations and content and videos and have that continuity with these coaches to keep them developing throughout the year.
Fantastic. Marty, what is it about Chris that makes him such an effective ambassador for our sport?
Well, so many things. And just to build on what you were just talking about, Chris, we met through the coach certification training process, I think over a decade ago now at this point, right? And for those that don't know, we have our coaches attend a coach certification training at least once every 2 years. And that challenge of having a group of 20 to 30 coaches in front of you that all coach different age levels, all have different experience levels, that's a very unique challenge. And I think I got to learn a lot from how you presented your information. And it's one of the reasons why I was drawn to you, is the way that you engage others is contagious. The energy that you bring to the table is contagious, and it just makes you have more fun, right? It's like a superpower that you have, that it brings a smile to people's faces, and all of a sudden I'm more focused because I'm like, this guy cares about this. Like, how cool is that? And now, like you mentioned, there's been this progression of going out onto the field, quite literally, with coaches that request to be worked with, and we call it our in-season support. And we're able to go to coaches' practices on their field with their players. It's one thing to host a whiteboard session and go over the drill with X's and O's. It's another thing to have 20, 30, third and fourth graders standing in front of you. That it's a different challenge, right? To run that stick work drill we talked about on the whiteboard, right? And so to be able to work with you through that progression has shown me that your skill set of, you already mentioned it, meeting people, whether it's players or coaches, meeting people where they're at, gets them engaged. And when you have the engagement, now you have the ability to actually steer the conversation and steer the direction of what we're trying to focus on based on what you're seeing in real time. And I think that's an incredible skill set that you have, and it's a human connection skill that people can certainly learn, but I think it's a gift of yours, and I admire that.
I appreciate you, Marty.
So if you were to summarize your philosophy on coaching youth lacrosse in one sentiment, and that's not easy, what would it be?
The game's for everyone, and it should be for everyone, and it's our job to keep them involved in the game.
That's beautiful. End it right there.
You guys aren't hearing a crying baby, are you?
No. We want, that's a nice segue, because I was going to ask you, tell us about the non-lacrosse Chris Gugino. Who are you off the field? And obviously, you're a father.
I'm a new dad, so we're 4 months in, and we are still in the thick grass, still in the tall grass. So first and foremost, I'm a dad, which is a blessing, really, really is. But I'm an employee, so I work for Lindt Chocolate, so I'm a chocolate salesman, and along with that, I'm an athlete. So I don't play lacrosse as much anymore. I love being an athlete and participating in lots of different sports and events. It's a passion of mine that certainly serves me to be the best I can as a coach and as a father, as a husband, and in the workforce too.
That's fabulous, Martin. What do you think? What ways can we kind of look forward to Chris's contributions to this platform on the fly, among other future projects, perhaps?
Well, you mentioned it earlier that you'll more than likely be a recurring guest of ours. And as we mentioned in previous episodes, a lot of the topics that we'll cover will need to get revisited. And, we only have so much time to try to add value on a episode by episode basis. And you're someone that I look forward to like continuing to learn from. Every single time we get together, Chris, is electric for me because I'm like, this is the guy that I want to be working with for as long as possible. I don't know that I exactly answered your question, Coach Joey, but I see Coach Chris Gugino as a value asset to coaches and players across the country and world for months and years to come because of an array of skills that you bring to the table. So I'm just fired up to help be a small part of creating this platform where we get to talk with coaches like yourself. And I also think you have a lot to bring to the table from a networking perspective. You know, when we get with coaches that have a passion like we share, you can start to sniff it out in others and those that are really just in it because they care about the kids and they care about the kids' experience. And so as we expand this network, I know you're going to be an integral part of the success of this.
Can't wait.
And we can't either. And so we want to thank everybody for tuning in to this little bonus mini episode where we introduce Chris Gugino. He's going to be joining us on future episodes of On the Fly. So please stay tuned and thanks for watching.